Hello, welcome to Living Arts. I'm your host, Jackie Suarez. I want to thank you for tuning in. Today we have a terrific guest.
Good morning, I am Toni Blackman. I am a poet, a rap lyricist, a performance artist, a writer, an educator, an activist, a humanitarian, and a citizen diplomat. I travel the world with this thing called hip-hop.
We live in a very competitive society. So it's no coincidence that within hip-hop, one of the most popular traditions is the idea of the battle, the rap battle. I'm gonna beat you, right? Which is okay for competition, but within the context of the cipher, it's really important that you come to this space for growth and development.
The cipher is a circle. It's a circle of sharing. It represents 360 degrees. It's about completion of thought, giving and exchanging energy, information, and ideas.
But I know one of the places we need to start is really acknowledging the role, the function, and the importance and significance of women. And it is too often ignored, and so we're dealing with thousands of years of the feminine energy being dissed. Every chance you get to speak, take it. I don't care how scared you are, how nervous you are, you take it. Some of the greatest belief coaches are teachers. There are parents, then there's the teachers. And guess what? People who didn't have parents, everybody still has a teacher. How many educators we have in the room? Woo, right? So, being that I'm an artist, I talk in many different ways. I talk through speech, I talk through writing, and I talk through rap. Here we go, y'all ready?
Be convinced, have confidence, there is no coincidence.
Toni, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
I've been looking forward to talking to you. You know,
Yes.
there are so many various things that you've done throughout your career that are just so interesting. You've been labeled the hip hop ambassador.
Yes.
So why don't we go ahead and get into your background a little, so
Right.
our audience can get to know you a little bit.
Well, I've been involved with hip hop since I was a young person, a really young person. I started doing hip hop education, teaching artist work.
Okay.
Before I even knew that that was what it was called. And I went to college, and my grandmother had a hissy fit on her deathbed because I said I was gonna be a poet and a rapper. And she wanted me to become Dr. Toni Blackman.
Okay.
So I got my master's to make them happy, but I came right back to the art, and I've been doing it ever since, organizing hip-hop artists, using hip-hop for activism and in the classroom, and to teach teachers ways to stay more connected with their students. And that's my life. The hip-hop ambassador work is really tied to cultural diplomacy programming that I've
the State Department.
with the U.S. Department of State. I've been doing since 2001.
Wow.
Yep.
So where did that take you? Because I know you've traveled quite a bit.
Oh yeah, although I've been to 44 different countries around the world, and I think with the State Department, maybe 18 different places, but I've gone to Brazil a couple of times, and Botswana a couple of times. I've done a couple of tours of South Africa, work in Senegal and Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, the Congo.
What's their experience of hip hop in that country? Because, basically hip hop was born right here in the Bronx.
Yeah.
So what is their experience of it? Is it more, you tell me.
Well, hip hop was born here in the Bronx, and I think but the influence of hip hop come from the continent of Africa and from South America and Brazil and it's just so many influences. I mean, the roots of the music are coming from Jamaica, so people access it because it is such a powerful creative vehicle for self-expression. So whether we're talking about dance or rap or any of the other elements, it's just perfectly suited for someone to attach and apply themselves and then interpret it the way that suits them. That's why it's the world's biggest cultural phenomenon artistically.
So do you think that it's more of, even besides the music, let's say it's more of a spirit of a period in one's life, or a spirit of a people, so to speak?
Beside the music, yeah, I think the essence of hip hop is It's about the soul. I've been facilitating these cipher circles for many years, and I wrote a book called Wisdom of the Cipher, and I'm pulling universal spiritual principles out of it. And in the book, I say that this circle in hip hop is the closest thing to a hip hop prayer. And it's the connectivity. For example, when I was teaching teachers a lot, I would always say in my workshop, you can put me on an airplane, you can drop me off anywhere in the world. If you can show me where the hip hop heads are, I know that I have a place to sleep tonight and something to eat. We're just that connected. My auntie used to joke in the airport. She's like, those are your people. Mm-hmm. We travel together. And it didn't matter what race they were, what ethnicity, whether they spoke English or not. She could identify, those are your people. And we connect just like that.
I hear you. So it was called, or you created the Freestyle Union Cipher Workshop. Mm-hmm. So this was done about how many years ago?
1994. I know when I told some students the other day, they went, oh, how old are you?
It was like you weren't born yet, right?
Yeah. It was so funny. But yeah, I started in 1994. I was still at Howard University.
Oh, okay.
And
big shout out to Howard, right?
Big shout out to Howard. HU. And there we were. And then I started it to become a better freestyler. But then the teenagers from Duke Ellington School of the Arts and from other local high schools started to show up. Then the skateboarders from Virginia with the purple hair, the blonde and purple hair, started to show up. Then the students from University of Maryland College Park. And then the block huggers from Northeast DC and different places. So you had this big community, all these different sects, right, that you would never see
together
in one place. But it was hip hop that brought the people together. Mm-hmm. And the beauty of hip hop really started to resonate with my soul in a very deep and profound way. I was such a hip hop idealist. Yeah. I was naive, young. I thought hip hop could just save
change
us
the
all.
world.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can still feel that way, or there is ways that it can. Mm-hmm. But what was, I guess, when you were first experiencing hip hop, what has changed from your idealism at that time to how you feel about hip hop now?
Well, I mean, one thing, I didn't know what sexism was. I didn't have any feminists in my life. I didn't have women who pointed out what patriarchy looked like to me. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a patriarchal family, and you consulted the men in the family.
Right.
And so in hip hop, I didn't know what that meant to be oppressed and suppressed, even though I was. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that I was until my feelings got hurt multiple times. And then I was like, hey, this is not fair.
You know, in your attempt to be an artist?
Yes.
Okay, so you were shut down because female artists had to maybe look a certain way, or if I'm thinking of Lil' Kim, I'm thinking of Remy Ma, I'm thinking about Foxy Brown. So they were not the best, I guess, hip hop artists.
Here's the thing, so that either you had to look this way to be in a commercial setting, then if you didn't look that way, you were judged. And then if you did look that way, you were judged and accused of being whatever. Yeah. Right? And so there was that catch-22, and then my boyfriend was in the same collective, so then I became acknowledged as his girlfriend. Yeah. Even though it was my energy, my labor, my effort, my idea that created this platform. And my rhyme that helped to create this platform. And it was sometimes it was really, really hurtful. I remember we had a girls' component just for women and girls. And I remember a couple of the guys saying, because we got featured in the Washington Times, and a couple of the guys saying to me, well, I guess if I wore a skirt, I would be on the cover of the newspaper too. And so and accused me of using them.
Using your sex to promote yourself.
And using them as their crutch. So we were leaning on them and their dopeness. And then we'd show up with our skirts and we would get put on because we get light. Yeah. Okay. That happened a lot as well.
Do you think, and this is maybe a little slightly off topic, but do you believe that it's necessary for an artist right now to be an exhibitionist, so to speak, in order to gain any type of notoriety or to get your foot in the door? You know, and I'm thinking to myself as I'm looking, because I'm not such a big hip hop person, but I'm up on popular culture. So I'm looking at various artists and I'm thinking to myself, would they be out there? Would they be on TV, or would I even know about them? you know, if they didn't have their boobs out?
You know, that's a tough one. I think that the commercial music industry is very different from the rest of the music industry. And we'd be hard pressed to find someone commercially successful that was not sexual or in their presentation in some way. There's not a lot of that, particularly within hip hop. But there are a lot of artists who've been able to find some freedom and independence. And I think that everything is shifting so much that it's difficult for artists to keep up with what do they need to do to sustain themselves. I mean, success means many different things to different people.
Yeah.
And so I have some young artists I mentor who are saying, I don't want that. You know, I don't want that. And there's a young man I've been mentoring who is on the streets, you know, worked in the underground economy for many years, and he wants to change his life. And he says, you know, I don't want to be a rap star. I want to be acknowledged for my art. And so how do I do that? How do I develop my craft?
What artist would you point to that maybe is living on those terms?
Living on those terms, I think there are a lot of independent artists, women or men? Men. Because I'm thinking about artists like Cyrock, SA-ROC. There's a lot of women artists who are starting to bubble up a bit. And then you have artists like, I think men have a leg up on women artists where they just, I don't know the way to say it. They get in, their songs get heard, like Talib Kweli, who tours and who sustains himself and who is able to collaborate within the mainstream, but still has a certain on-the-ground credibility in terms of authenticity.
That can book a date and have people, you know, come and see him.
People will pack a club to see him, but then he can collaborate with the mainstream artist and then still have his credibility intact, you know? And so some people may question it, but they can't take it away because of the line that he has chosen to walk.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, even I'm thinking to myself, it's like there's so many artists that you may not know them or they may not be known to you, but they are still known in hip hop. And there's people that, I mean, they make money somehow, which has always fascinated me because I don't understand how. If they're not, if a big record label is not behind them.
Like one of my top 5 artists of all time is Pharoah Monch. He's an MC. He's from Queens. He has an incredible cult following. He tours all over the world. And hands down, if you see him live, you can't argue about his greatness.
You become a fan.
You become a fan. And I mean, I'll play an album from years ago in my Art of MCing classes with high school students. And sometimes I just put it on and don't say anything to wait to how long a few of them are going to say.
Yeah, like, what's
who's
this?
That? You know, and they always say, who's that? I'm like, it's Pharoah Monch, you know? And then I get opportunity to, you know, be the old head teaching the youngins.
I hear you. I hear you. So I want to talk a little bit about Rhyme Like a Girl.
Yes.
And that whole project of yours.
Rhyme Like a Girl came out of doing the work with Freestyle Union and realizing that girls and women needed a safe space.
Toni Blackman stands in a classroom, leading a group of teenage girls through her groundbreaking hip-hop workshop, Rhyme Like a Girl. Toni tells them they're going to be doing freestyle poetry and spoken word. They're scared. Some girls speak so quietly, you can't hear them. But Toni's belief in the ability of spoken word to transform lives is irresistible.
We don't want people to think that we think we're all that. And I say, think you're all that. Rock the mic refers to the idea of being bold, being audacious.
It started as Daughters of the Cipher in the late 90s, and then that became a band. And then when I moved to New York, I applied for a fellowship with Open Society Institute, and the idea was to pull girls out of schools to create a program for them. But it took me a year to figure out that girls didn't call themselves rappers or MCs until after high school.
Yep.
And so they would always say, well, you know, I'm a poet, my brother raps, and then they would proceed to spit the fire. You're like, what do you mean you don't rap? But they didn't feel ownership in hip hop.
They didn't want to call themselves that.
Yeah, because they didn't own it. Like, they didn't feel like they had a right to be a part of it. And so Rhyme Like a Girl just became a safe space for girls and women to bond and develop. And it was also about energy. Sometimes you might go to a hip hop jam and you just want to be a woman. You don't want to have to push and bogart to get on a mic. You don't want to have to become aggressive to have people listen to you. You just want to be a woman. And so sometimes men would perceive women as being insecure, are afraid, when really they just weren't feeling your vibe. And so they would just sit quietly.
And kind of soak it up because
Yeah.
they didn't see a way to choose,
Yeah.
you know, grab, like you said, grab the mic or to start
Yeah.
performing.
And that's why Rhyme Like a Girl exists.
So now you're mentoring some people right now. So tell me about that circle of women.
Well, the circle of women I'm mentoring is just artists who want to heighten their skill level, heighten their presence. And these are also artists who are teaching artists in some aspect of their lives. And they also are committed to a larger mission, bigger than themselves. And I learned that the hard way too, because there were people who would want to come to me for coaching and artist development, and they would kind of pretend to go along with this idea of community. And then they would get frustrated when they'd realize, oh, she really is committed to community.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about these young women. You know, it's they're from New York and from down south, and just kind of landed here in New York. And the goal is for them to all become master freestylers and to become masters of the stage and be able to connect with audiences and to really feel whole and complete, and to know that they don't have to be that on TV to be
Right.
successful.
So what's your, I want to say curriculum, but that's not the right word for it. What steps are you putting together for these women to achieve those goals?
Oh, well, we have these regular jam sessions where we get together and we go through the freestyle exercises I developed in the Freestyle Union cipher workshop. There's stop-start coaching. We critique each other. We drill one another. There are also performance opportunities. For example, I got booked to do a cipher workshop at the Penn Faulkner Literary Festival in April. And so some of them will come.
Where is that?
That is at the Town Stages Center in Manhattan. It's the big literary festival they do every year. And this year they want to do more community-oriented programming.
Oh, okay, cool.
And so we'll be doing that, and they'll perform on the stage. And sooner than that, we'll be performing on February 18th at Basquiat's Bottle in Brooklyn, a new Black-owned venue that's there in Bed-Stuy. And they just to get their chops up, you know, topics from the audience, talking to the audience.
So is it mostly things that they've prepared, some writing, some things that they've prepared, or like that, I guess, is different with freestyle? But wouldn't they still be depending on some things they'd written previously?
Yeah.
Even if you are freestyling?
We do. It used to be all freestyle. But now I'm less of a purist. And also I think that people practicing delivery of their written material is important in order to rock a crowd.
Yeah.
And then because of the political climate we're living in, I think it's more and more important for us to give artists the permission to be as creative as possible in speaking out on the issues.
Right.
And so they all are very passionate about what it means to be a woman, what it means to be a girl, talking about 45 and all of the things that come with that.
Yep.
We had a discussion about DACA the other night, and then Amara La Negra and what she's doing with the issue of colorism.
Once again, you see I have too much time on my hands. I do pop in on Love and Hip Hop in Miami. So I am watching that whole thing with her issues with her hair, you know? So it's like, it's something that may seem trivial, but it is an important.
It's very deep.
It is extremely deep.
Yeah.
It's extremely deep with Hispanic women, is, you know, deep with all women of color, I would think.
Yeah.
You know? Although we'll see how that whole thing plays out as far as the promotion of her career and things in Miami.
Yeah.
Yes, stay tuned for the professional TV watcher over here.
Right,
I'll keep
right.
everybody posted. I'll keep everybody posted. So now you are a fantastic writer, and you've done some things. Last year you came out with Intercourse, A Plea for Real Love. So why don't you tell my audience a little bit about that?
Well, okay, this book came out years ago. I just started selling it again. Really?
I thought it was in 2017.
No.
Oh, this is an oldie but goodie?
This is an oldie but goodie. Yeah, so I had a publishing industry experience, growth lesson, and you know, a lot of hype up until the book was supposed to come out, and then not a lot of support after it did from the company. And then finally now I've been shopping a new book, and I had some ups and downs with it. And then I just started, just because I have 1,000 books in my mom's house, so why not sell them?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
That you've written?
Yeah, that book. It's been sitting there.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, why not sell it? And so now I'm back to being an artist. I think I became so absorbed with helping and my mission as almost, my ex-boyfriend used to say, you think you're a hip hop missionary. Just stop it and finish something. And so now I'm in the space of finishing something.
Completion oriented.
Completion.
Goal oriented.
Yes, I think Spike Lee says, you know, as an artist, you have to demonstrate your body of work, otherwise you're not really an artist. And it's not that your body of work is famous or in the Met, you know.
But from A to B, you know, you did something, it's done, it's complete. So what is the name of the new book?
Wisdom of the Cipher is the name of the new book, and I pull universal spiritual principles
Name one.
out of my work with hip hop. Battle yourself, you are your own worst enemy. And so, you know, in hip hop, in the rap tradition, battling is a part of the culture.
Right.
And so I'm not against battling. However, there are points where you have to focus on yourself and on your self-development and on the development of your craft so you can do something other than just battling. Can you rap about the flowers? Can you rap about clean water? Can you rap about liberation? Can you rap to a room of 8-year-olds? Can you rap to a group of senior citizens? Can you rap at a church or a mosque? If you can't do that, you're very limited in your capacity to be a true MC and a true artist.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I believe this in my heart, and I believe if we can embrace this philosophy, it's one of the things that will help hip hop to survive and to continue growing. And we can't get stuck. Yeah.
No, absolutely. You know, so then everything else that's in the book, the universal principles that you mentioned, are similar to that as far as becoming a better
it's
MC.
related to artistry, but you know, not diminishing your light, which is something we tell young people all the time. It's okay to shine. I find that a lot of really creative, talented people tend to withhold. I tend to not want to do too much. I don't want to hog the spotlight. It's you know, it's that space. The people who are really great, those are not the mic hoggers.
They're humble.
Yes.
And they're usually working on a project that they're very quiet about. They're quietly seeking
and that
greatness.
The world needs. They're
Exactly.
usually, and it's something the world needs. And so, I don't know, you know, one of my mentees asked me the other day, but why do you do this? What do you do it for you? And I'm like, yo, it's my mission. I had this mission since I was 9 years old, to create this platform, to change the world. And it's just in her head, she kept asking me questions, and I was like, oh, this is not her life mission. But people who think like me, who are world changers, social changers, they all get it.
Well, no, of course, because you're touching someone's life, and through this Rhyme Like a Girl and that cipher, one of these people is going to carry the torch and be touching somebody else's life further down the line.
Yes.
You're creating something really fantastic.
Yes.
You know? So because I've gotten the 3-minute mark over here, what I want to do is talk about the events that you have coming up. I know you're going to be going overseas or out of the country, the things you have, and push it out towards, like, let's say March and past March of events and things where people can see you.
Well, we have February 18th at Basquiat's Bottle. It's a rap recital. I am at the Brooklyn Museum February 22nd for a tribute to Sonia Sanchez. And in March, I'll be in Senegal for Africa Turban's Women in Hip Hop Festival. And then late March, I'll be in Tanzania for Women's Month for a big concert there. It's called Tanzania's Lyricist Lounge. And then I'll be doing the Penn Faulkner Literary Festival in April, and in May, the Nike Hoop Forum back in Senegal. It's with a basketball academy called Seed Academy, started by Amadou Gallo Fall.
Wow, you're going to be living out of a suitcase. Do you need a little, like, gonzo reporter to follow you around and report on what's going on?
I wish. And we're doing my dream event is Women in Hip Hop Summit. It's called We're Here. Women in Hip Hop Summit at NYU with the Music Education Lab at New York University, June 22nd and 23rd. We're Here will be happening, and we'll be doing a sacred healing cipher and a day of conference activities for the event, and to really honor women, explore women, have conversations about what we need to do as women in hip hop to heal.
So would you need to be going to NYU to be a part of this thing? Or
No, it's open to
like a workshop?
everyone. I'm hoping I get some folks. I'm hoping it's not too late. I have a lot of contacts outside of the country, around the world. And there's this national network. There are those of us who've been in hip hop. And so we all went to the same conferences in the 90s. And in the early 2000s, and this whole social justice, justice change. So I'm hoping that this is a reunion of sorts.
Okay.
And that we see a lot of new faces and a lot of young, new energy as well. And teachers are welcome as well.
Definitely. I'm going to mention it to anybody I can get my hands on. And, I'm just so pleased that you came down to spend this time with us. It's been, just wonderful getting to know you a little bit and talking about your work.
Thank you.
People can get more information from you or about you at www.toniblackman.com.
And ToniBlackmanPresents.com.
ToniBlackmanPresents.com.
Yeah, I'm doing
We got
both.
Facebook. We have a great YouTube channel.
Instagram.
You got to update those upcoming events, though, on that.
I do.
On that website
I'm
of
so
yours.
horrible about it.
Yeah, you have so many things coming up.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely to our Living Arts audience, I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed getting to know Toni a little bit. Definitely check her out if you can see any of her, workshops or anything like that. Be a part of that. It's going to be fantastic. And go check her out on her website and support her in any way that you can. She's also doing speaking events. And, if you have a school or something like that, you want someone to talk about hip hop and the culture, she's available for that as well. I want to thank you as always for tuning in. Come back and see us again soon. And, you can check out old episodes on YouTube. And I try to put any pertinent information up on Facebook, okay? Great. Thank you. Have a good night.
And I wanted to start out with a piece I've been doing for a long time. It's a short piece, and it's called I Am an Invisible Woman. Not because people refuse to see me, they know I am here, but it's as if my womanness detracts from my existence, my presence too often mistaken for absence. I am an invisible woman, whose words don't flow fast enough, whose beats just aren't fat enough, whose contribution goes unseen. They know I am here because I was there. See, I rock the mic as he did. I spit rhymes as he did. I bore hip-hop as he did. We nurtured it. I am an invisible woman. I am an invisible woman. Now, I may not be seen, but I'll be damned if I won't be heard.